Okay, Renato. I've heard that you and other people that were in the Rama group had some very interesting encounters with Alpha Centauri extraterrestrials. Can you tell us a bit about that?
Yes, indeed. In all these more than 30 years in Lima, Peru, South America, a group of young people since 1974 were able to have all these experiences with extraterrestrials that, according to the information we have received, they came from Alpha Centauri.
Mm.
The information is completely different in relation to the evolution of the human being, the shift of consciousness, planetary changes, and other predictions that have to do with the 10 first years of this new millennium, which we are already experiencing right now. So the extraterrestrials from Alpha Centauri, Orion, and Venus plays, according to our information and experience, not only mine, as well as other people, an important role of the exchange of information with extraterrestrials in the Rama group in Lima, Peru, South America.
Yeah. Can you explain a bit how these Alpha Centaurians look like?
Well, they look like humans, exactly, and they are very tall, approximately 2 meters 50 centimeters and plus, well built, athletic, long hair. Most of them use boots, or would say some sort of uniform. Some of them with kind of military ornaments, as far as I'm experienced as well, and they have been trained to deal with humans. Let's say, in other words, they have been trained to be persons who understand human behavior, in other words. And also, they have psychic abilities. They have bases here in the planet Earth, and then now and then contact people personally. I know a couple of stories with people that not even are in the circuit of giving lectures or presentations, but their background are very impressive to me, and I really believe that there has been an ongoing contact with members of the Alpha Centauri civilization, what we popularly call in the Rama group APU, APU,
Okay.
APU. And the first one who talked about APU, or the society in APU, was a former Yugoslavian engineer that used to live in Peru, and in the early 60s he had experiences in that time
Okay.
regarding the same extraterrestrials later on Rama group have encounters with.
Hmm. I see. How frequent are these meetings at the moment? How is it many years ago, or still it still happens that people in the Rama group or others maybe you know of have encounters with these beings?
Not too often, in a specific period of time when there are important events, planetary events, and other changes in the world, we have had encounters with them. As far as I understand, there has been an encounter in 2003 in Toronto, Canada, and one of the persons who have this experience is Veronica Paswells. And recently there has been encounters in Mount Shasta, California. And said recently has been just September, last month.
Okay. Hmm.
You know, but
Interesting.
it's
Hmm.
not like it happens every month or it happens every year. Some people have every 10 years, every 5 years, every 8 years. So that means the continuation of the experience is kept alive, which means the contact with higher sophisticated civilizations that are concerned of the future evolution of the human race is being followed, has been followed. Therefore, they choose specific locations and pre-coordinated encounters. We have to understand this. This is not just a event of luck and circumstances. These pre-coordinated encounters start with psychic communications, in some cases others automatic writings. When there is a specific place, day and time, there's going to be an encounter with them. And when it happens, it corroborates that the communication is still fluid with extraterrestrials and humans. And if I say automatic writings or psychic communications is something that perhaps for some people sounds new or different, but let me tell you something. Joseph Allen Hynek, the father also of modern ufology, considered that the other ways of communication from extraterrestrial potentially could have been psychic communication.
I see.
That mentioned in one of the books of the legendary UFO researcher Jacques Vallée,
Mm.
talking about his private conversations and meetings with Joseph Allen Hynek. Of course, we know Jacques Vallée was his right hand
Mm.
and also good friend of Joseph Allen Hynek in his time. So the possibility of psychic communication from beings more evolved than us that are capable to lower their frequency in order to communicate with us is possible. It's nothing that we have to, I have to remark, it happens on a weekly basis or every day. It has to happen on a specific period of time in a pre-coordinated communication to have a pre-coordinated UFO interaction, and then the next step is the physical encounter. And when it happens, it's also new information. It's also a new step ahead. It's also new responsibilities to be able to follow. So it's kind of ongoing relationship. The problem is when the people start to change their mind, start to trying to control information from themselves. That's a possibility to risk losing the communication with them, because there are certain times and terms and conditions, terms and conditions to follow, have to be respectful. The communication has to be for everybody, have to talk about positive things, have to help evolve the human consciousness, and also sometimes have to do with predictions of world events that has been happening. So that is a proof for members of the Rama group and other groups as well to have these interactions with high intelligence. In the case of extraterrestrials from Alpha Centauri that we call APU, has been very interesting because they are very straightforward. They go straight to the point. They are not so mystical or I would say that kind of a feeling. They go to give information, and they are really stick to the rules. It's a very highly evolved and organized society where they're coming from. And one of the things that sometimes scare people, they have had these encounters that are not in real life, they're not so romantic. And so I will say, like in the movies, Hollywood movies, like, sci-fi fiction, it could be a little bit terrifying to have an encounter in the middle of nowhere in a specific isolated location with a being that appeared in an interdimensional portal that we call Sendra or Stargate, and you see a human-like entity that is more than 2 meters 50 centimeters approaching to you, is that could be shocking.
I see.
Definitely.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much for your information, Renato. Yeah.
And I really have to thank you, Terje,
Yeah.
and
Okay.
Christine Norman for the opportunity to invite me to this wonderful conference here in Bergen. And it's also a tremendous job, I know, responsibility you both are doing, and hopefully we'll see you again. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Renato.